We believed in the 5 pillars of Islam. Our family was very, very strict Muslims. We believed in making prayer 5 times a day. My father was very serious about us studying the Quran and us knowing what it said.
Listen, it was demanded of her as a child when Misha Wesley heard the Quran read aloud. Misha obeyed because she wanted to please Allah and not anger her father.
I was very proud to wear my headdress, my kimar. Even as a child, I felt kind of superior.
But despite his religious fervor, Misha's father was physically and sexually abusive.
My mom was so helpless. She had no one to help her. One time I saw my mom and dad fight each other. She would throw weights at him to fight him back. It was a very violent upbringing. I remember one time laying next to my sister and my father as he sexually abused her. It was so painful. This was my normal.
The perversion and violence in her home made Misha question Allah's power and care.
And I really began to doubt Allah a lot. But I felt the urge to pray to God and not Allah. Don't know why I said that. I just asked God, please help my sisters so they won't get beat by him no more. And I remember crying and I remember praying that prayer.
The next night, police pounded on their door and arrested Misha's father. He was charged with robbery and attempted murder and sentenced to 10 years in prison. To Misha, it was a sign.
I kept praying that way because I knew God would answer.
To get help from other relatives, Misha's mother, her daughters, and young son moved to New York City. However, there was never enough money to support them. So, in her early teens, Misha shed her kimar and her dignity to help pay for her family's food and rent.
I started stripping when I was 15 years old. My mom did not have any idea, and it was fast and it was easy. And I needed that money. I stopped believing at all. Didn't care about any God, any Allah. I was living fast and I was loving it.
2 years after Misha's father was paroled, he died. Misha followed her mother and sisters to Alabama, where they had relocated. Still in high school, she met Larry and fell in love. After graduation, they married.
There was a genuineness about him. There was a realness. He was so loving. I think he filled that void that I really wanted, someone to love me.
At times, Misha went to church with Larry's family and cousin.
But worshiping together, men and women together, being raised as a Muslim, not having men and women together, I thought it was strange.
Misha wasn't excited about church, but rather a secret relationship. She left Larry and committed adultery with an older man.
I saw my father be promiscuous and I thought it was okay while he was married. So I figured, why not? Why not?
Misha and Larry got back together to try and work through the betrayal. Larry's cousin started posting sermons on her Facebook page about Jesus. One day in her car, Misha stopped and listened to a post that overwhelmed her.
I don't know how long I was out. I just don't know. But I know that I was out. And that day, my soul was saved. Because in the prayer, she was saying, surrender. Say it, surrender, I surrender. And I kept telling Jesus, I surrender, I surrender, I surrender, I surrender, Jesus. It was like a fear washed over me. Not like a fear that I was scared of the dark, but a fear that was heavy and I felt all over me. It was no longer God, it was Jesus. And I surrendered to him that day, fully, totally, because I said it with my mouth, with my heart, with my mind. I meant it.
Immediately, Misha felt deep sorrow for those she'd harmed, especially Larry, and forgiveness towards those who had wounded her.
It added more pain in my heart to see Larry in pain, to see Larry hurting, the way I made him hurt. And I actually looked at it and I said, I caused this. Everybody who offended me or everybody who did anything to me. He told me to pray for them, let them go.
All Misha's desires and priorities changed too.
I started to want and desire his word. I was reading the Bible more and more. I was in the word more and more. I was hungry. But now, because I take the word and I apply the word to my life, to my family, to those around me, to the children I minister to, that's the difference. We have peace, we have love. And I remember the Lord always told me, I will never allow violence to be mentioned of in your land ever again. And there's no more violence. Jesus gave me something that I never had. He was the Father. He is Abba, Abba Father. He was the Father I was seeking from other men, even in a strip club. He was the good, good Father that I desperately wanted to meet and I needed.